All right, welcome everybody to the final demo of the first work cycle of the Noh Theater project. What we're going to be showing today are the two main dynamic views, which attach a lot of very rich and very dense data to two different plays from the Noh Theater tradition. This first view that you're seeing right now is what we're calling the play view. What this shows is in this upper right area, an entire play, in this case, Kokaji, being streamed currently from the Amazon cloud infrastructure. We'll go ahead and hit play on this just to get it going. I'll turn down the volume. So it starts off a little bit slowly, but while we've got it going, I'll explain some of the other pieces that are on the screen. On the left side, we have a column which is for a narrative analysis of the play. Right now, we just have some filler text in there, but what we've created is a structure where you can have multiple tabs. So an introduction, you could have different parts of this, and these different pieces will switch as the video is progressing. So that as the video plays, you're able to see the scholarly analysis of the play itself. There are a few features sort of within this. The primary one being that you can create text that is tagged with a time in the play, so that when you click that text, in this case, consecutor, it will actually jump the play forward to that particular time and begin playing immediately. What this allows is for the scholars to be able to pinpoint particular parts of the play with the text of their analysis and really directly attach the analysis to particular chunks. What we have down below here, well, I'll show you one more piece on the video first. One of the things that we have is actually transcription and translation within the closed captioning. So we use the built-in closed captioning capacity of HTML5 video. If you click on this, it'll give you an option where you can turn on the translation, turn on the transcription, or turn on the combined. In this case, we'll go ahead and turn on combined. We don't have any text right now, so we'll sort of jump forward a little bit. This could be a piece where we don't actually have transcription because the translation isn't actually finished for the video or for all of these. So we may need to jump around a little bit to find that.
Maybe go forward from that on the stage.
All right, looks like we'll have to find a sort of chunk. We'll save that for the section because we know that we can show it from there. What we also have underneath here while the video is playing, we have first a map of the various sections within the play. Some of these are shoden, some of them are sort of intermediate stages of musicians walking in or walking out of the scene. Each of these sections is scoped to the width, which represents the width of that particular section within the play as a whole. The height of each of these represents an intensity score, which shows the sort of intensity of the synchronization between all the many elements which compose any scene in Noh. And we do have a slider which will sort of move over as the play progresses so that you know what section you're in. We're still working on a little bit of the data bugs. So right now our shoden or our section blocks don't quite line up the way that they should. But once we resolve a couple of data bugs, then we'll be able to sort of have those perfectly lined up. What you're seeing on this right, what we're calling an intermedia table, is a sort of a dynamic representation of many of the different elements within the theater that are occurring and changing at any given time. So we get the name of the section, and then we get several different types of information, such as the voice, or the voice type, the type of text, or the type of sort of spoken or singing, the types of percussion, type of dance. All of these are different elements which go to create the meaningfulness of any given moment. And these do change over time as the play progresses. So you saw a couple of shifts there that happened a little bit quickly because of some data issues, but you're able to see those changes sort of as it goes. What this allows is for any viewer or any sort of user of the website to be able to understand the different pieces and keep track of those different pieces of the play as it progresses. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this for now. The other part of this that we have is not just this play view, but at the level of each of those individual sections. So we'll go and look at the Kusei from Kokaji. You'll see a view here that looks very similar to the previous one in its whole layout, but is just a little bit different. So we do still have the video here in the top right. The whole video is being pulled in, but the timing of it is being set to where it goes automatically to start at the beginning of just this section. On the left side, we still have the time codes, or we still have the scholarly analysis, along with the text that is time coded so that you can jump to individual pieces of the section as well. The things that'll look a little bit different to you here, at the bottom on this left side, we have the libretto section, which is in giving you both the singing style as well as the transcription and the translation of the text of the section. Underneath that, you have that same sort of timeline of the sections, but in a smaller sparkline form. This allows the user to be able to sort of continue to see this, but if you wanted that larger section or shonen timeline or section timeline, you can click and you'll still get the full timeline. Being able to minimize it allows us to sort of have a little bit more screen space to show more of the scholarly analysis in a given time. Another thing that you're able to do just to see the full thing, you can actually minimize this libretto as well. You'll still be able to see the singing style, but otherwise let you emphasize the scholarly analysis as the video is playing. For now, we'll go ahead and open the libretto back up. I'm gonna go ahead and start the video here. So this is Kusei, and now we'll turn on our combined transcription translation, and there we have it. We do have the full translation data for this particular section. So you're able to see at the top level the transcription, and then within parentheses the translation. What you'll also see now over here in the libretto is that as each line is being sung or spoken, it is being highlighted in the libretto. What this means is that the user or the viewer of the website is able to, even without these sort of transcription translations overlaying the video itself, they're able to keep track of the text or what's being said at any given time. This libretto will sort of shift up to the middle as it's being played. And so you're always able to see what the current line is. And then the other sort of major piece here that we have is the score. I'll pause this for just a moment so we can take a look at it without it moving. What we have here is the actual beat by beat level data for the text down to the syllables, for what percussion is there, for what nokon or what flute line in the percussion. Sometimes we don't have all of these elements in any given moment. Sometimes we do, and so you'll see different levels of sort of fullness. I'm going to refresh this page just a minute to bring up a little bit of this opening data. When we open, since we don't actually, we have currently showing the current and the next phrases of the score. There is a previous phrase that we enable once the play has gone far enough in such that we've gone past it and there is data there. But when you first start, you just get the current and the next phrase so that you're able to see what's currently happening and then what the upcoming piece of music, the upcoming syllables are. But there are a few things that are particular to the data here. With this text, you can see this little band of reddish orange color here. If you scroll over that, we actually get a pop-up that tells you the voice type there, which in this case is Jutai. The other thing that you'll see at the sort of small level at the bottom of this text is a representation actually of the vocal range, whether it's low, whether it's middle, whether it's high. And that will sort of shift over time. And so while this one is low here on this first phrase, if you go to the second phrase, you can see where it jumps actually to the middle. And so you're able to sort of get a good bit of extra data sort of loaded into a sort of small dense area. We'll go ahead and start this up again. As the play progresses, we'll see these current and next phrases change. Once it gets far enough in, then we'll be able to toggle on the previous sentence. What we've done here, since we know that there is a substantial amount of data on the page, we've added a number of toggles. In this case, we'll go ahead and toggle on the previous phrase so that you can now see sort of a scope of where are you currently at within the play, within the phrasing, what was coming before it, what's coming after, and it gives you a rich sense of the context if you're really trying to drill down into the individual pieces of, or all the elements that sort of create the meaningfulness here. Since we know that this is a very dense view, we have other toggles so that if you're only interested in particular pieces of the score, you're able to sort of toggle off the pieces that you're less interested in. So we could hit dance and we'll remove that dance line from all three of the phrases. We get the no-con and remove that. We could remove the percussion. And what we're left with is then just being able to see just the beats and just the text. We still have the textual data about the voice type and the vocal range. So we're still getting a good bit of dense information here, but allows us to really sort of focus in on what's of particular interest. If we really want to drill down, we could also turn off the next and the previous sentences so that you're really just saying what's currently happening in a given moment. This does allow you to sort of draw more or less focus on the viewing of the play itself. And it really gives you a fairly configurable view, especially if we're able to sort of pull down this libretto. You really could at this point just be focusing on the scholarly analysis at the same time that you're actually hearing and seeing the play run itself. Since some of the sections do have, do or do not have different pieces of information, we have on different views enabled some ways of sort of seeing what's not there sometimes, or a sort of giving focus. So especially if we have some of these sections where, say, the musicians are walking in from Hashitomi, we do actually, since there's no score, we just minimize that and try to really emphasize the full page. In this case, there's also no libretto. So we had the libretto also disabled in this case. And what that then gives you is, again, that sort of really strong focus just on seeing what's happening at that moment, as well as reading the scholarly narrative. That concludes our final demo for work cycle 1 with what's, I think, far past the minimum viable product. We have a lot of the dynamism really engaged here for both the section and the play views. We really do have everything hooked up to the data. We do have some things moving forward. So when we're looking forward to work cycle 2, we do have a few data bugs that we know that we need to clear up, a few little styling things here and there that we're going to be working on. The bigger focus for that second work cycle, though, is to incorporate these two really dynamic data-driven views into the larger website and the larger scholarly product of our faculty. There's going to be a sort of rich design phase so that, and sort of implementation phase, so that while you have all just the elements being shown here, you'll be able to actually click through to get the full scholarly analysis just of the individual elements, just of that particular flute style, just of that particular percussion style. And so we're really going to be building out all of that content, as well as a navigational scheme that surfaces all of the sort of rich elements which have a strong hierarchy in a very clear and searchable manner. So within this next work cycle, later this year, we're going to be integrating this within this larger scholarly product and really creating the connections between all the elements as you see it on these sort of dynamic pages and the sort of longer full text scholarly analysis of those pieces. Thank you.
Guys, this is just amazing. It's really